75 countries, one signature. And just like that, the American dream is on indefinite hold for millions of people across the globe. It is January 15th, 2026, and if you have been following the headlines, you know that the United States just dropped a geopolitical bombshell that is shaking the foundations of international diplomacy. We aren't talking about a travel ban on a handful of rogue states. We are talking about a massive, sweeping freeze that covers nearly 40% of the world's nations. Russia, Brazil, Thailand, Egypt, Pakistan. The list is staggering. The State Department is calling this a necessary review of public charge protocols, a move to protect the American taxpayer. But is that the whole story? Or is this the beginning of a new fortress-like era for America where the doors are locked from the inside? In the next few minutes, we are going to tear down the official narrative and look at what is really happening behind closed doors in Washington. We need to analyze why allies like Thailand and Brazil are lumped in with adversaries like Iran and Russia. And you need to understand this because the consequences of this decision could trigger a diplomatic domino effect that no one is talking about yet. What happens when the world's biggest economy suddenly says, "Do not enter" to 75 nations? I will tell you exactly what the endgame is later in this video, and trust me, it is going to reshape the global economy in ways you haven't imagined. Let's dive deep. As of Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, the U.S. State Department has officially confirmed that effective January 21st, 2026, the immigrant visa processing for citizens of 75 countries is suspended indefinitely. Now, pay attention to the wording here. Indefinitely. This isn't a 30-day pause. This is a complete halt until the State Department, under the guidance of Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Trump administration, decides that their new ultra-strict vetting procedures are in place. The core reason being cited is the public charge rule. For those who don't know, a public charge is someone who is likely to become primarily dependent on the government for subsistence. The administration is arguing that for too long, the U.S. immigration system has been abused by those who extract wealth from the American people rather than contributing to it. But here is where the analysis gets interesting. If you look at the list, it is a geopolitical puzzle. You have the usual suspects, of course: Iran, Russia, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Afghanistan, countries that the U.S. has had strained or hostile relations with for years. Seeing them on a visa suspension list is not surprising. But then you look closer. Brazil, Thailand, Egypt, these are countries with significant diplomatic and economic ties to the United States. Why are they on this list? This signals a massive shift in American foreign policy. We are moving away from a policy based purely on security threats like terrorism or espionage to a policy based on economic liability. The administration is essentially saying that it doesn't matter if you're a friendly nation politically, if your citizens are statistically likely to use U.S. welfare benefits, you're out. This is a purely transactional approach to immigration. It's America First version 2.0 on steroids. Let's look at the numbers. Reports from January 14th indicate that this suspension specifically targets immigrant visas. These are visas for people looking to move here permanently, to get green cards, to build lives. While tourist and business visas, the non-immigrant categories, are technically still open, do not let that fool you. The scrutiny is going to be intense. We are already seeing reports that over 100,000 visas were revoked in 2025 alone. The administration is tightening the screws on every possible entry point. Now, imagine the chaos this creates. You have families in the U.S. waiting for relatives from Pakistan or Nigeria. You have skilled workers from Russia or Brazil who were in the middle of a years-long process. All of that is now frozen. But why now? Why January 2026? You have to connect the dots to the broader timeline. The U.S. is gearing up for massive global events. We have the World Cup coming up in 2026. We have the Olympics in 2028. The world is coming to America. By freezing immigrant visas now, the administration is clearing the deck. They are freeing up consular resources to handle the inevitable flood of tourists and temporary visitors, while simultaneously shutting down the pathway pathway to permanent residency. It's a classic guest versus tenant mentality. Now, let's talk about the public charge aspect again, because this is the key to understanding the future. The State Department's memo explicitly instructs consular officers to deny visas to anyone who might use public benefits. This includes looking at age, health, family status, and financial assets. This is effectively a wealth test. If you are older, if you have health issues, or if you don't have a significant financial safety net, the door is closed. This disproportionately affects developing nations, which explains why 75 countries are on the list. It's not just about security, it's about demographics. The U.S. is aging, and usually countries bring in immigrants to fix that. But this administration is taking the opposite bet, that the cost of supporting low-income immigrants outweighs the economic benefit of their labor. Let's zoom out and look at the geopolitical fallout. How does a country like Russia respond to this? Russia is already on the list. Relations are at an all-time low. This is just another layer of the Iron Curtain being rebuilt. But what about Brazil? Brazil is a major economy in the Western Hemisphere. Freezing visas for Brazilians is a slap in the face to a major partner. This could push countries like Brazil and Thailand closer to other global powers, specifically China. If the U.S. shuts its doors, Beijing is more than happy to open theirs for trade and influence. We are risking isolating ourselves from the global south in a way that could backfire spectacularly in the long run. And there's another layer to this onion, the timing. This announcement comes just a week before the implementation date of January 21st. That's virtually no notice in the world of international travel and bureaucracy. It creates panic, it creates a rush, and it sends a message of absolute unilateral power. The United States is telling the world, we set the terms, and we can change them overnight. It's a demonstration of sovereignty that is meant to resonate with the domestic voter base, showing that the government is taking drastic action to protect the national treasury. So what is the end game? I promised I would tell you what I think is coming next. Here's the reality. This indefinite suspension is likely the new normal. The review of screening procedures is a feature, not a bug. It gives the administration leverage to keep these restrictions in place for as long as they want without technically calling it a permanent ban. It gives them leverage. If a country on that list wants to get off, they'll have to negotiate. They might have to share more data, agree to take back deportees, or offer favorable trade terms. Immigration has become a bargaining chip in the grand game of geopolitics. We are going to see a fragmented world where mobility is a privilege reserved for the wealthy or the citizens of a select few approved nations. In conclusion, what happened on January 14th wasn't just a bureaucratic memo, it was a declaration of a new economic border. The United States is raising the drawbridge. For the 75 countries on the outside, the message is clear. You are welcome to visit, welcome to spend, but you are no longer welcome to stay. As we watch this unfold over the coming weeks, keep your eyes on the reaction from the affected capitals. Will they retaliate? Will they impose their own visa freezes on Americans? The game has just begun, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure to share this video. We need to get this information out there because the mainstream media is only reading the press release, not reading between the lines. I will see you in the next one.